Right. Oh, hello. Welcome to the live. Let's just get this back to normal now. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Hope you're all well. Manuela's with us today. How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries at all. Always a pleasure. And Heather's here as well. How are you, Heather? You okay?
I'm doing well. Thank you
What's
for
your
having
day
me.
been like? Busy? You're both in Canada, so you're a bit behind me, aren't you? So you're in the afternoon, 1 o'clock roughly.
1 o'clock for me, and it's a little bit earlier for Heather.
Yeah,
she's on the other side.
Yeah.
We're almost coast to coast. Almost coast to coast.
Yeah.
Have you guys been to each other's sort of areas before, or have you just sort of?
Oh, for sure.
I've never been to Toronto.
You've never been to Toronto? I've been to BC. I've been to Victoria, and of course Whistler. With the go skiing. You know, it's just.
I've never even been to Whistler.
No? Oh, you've got to go. You will love it. I was so terrified.
I live like 2 hours from Whistler. I've never been there. I don't ski, so I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, my kids do. I ski very badly. I fall down the hill.
Oh, well, that sounds fun.
I've snowboarded before. I wasn't very good at it though. I kept falling over.
Yeah, the boys snowboard.
Quite dangerous.
They love it. You know, I was terrified because Whistler, I mean, these are big mountains, right? The Rockies, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I thought, if you don't know what you're doing, it's going to be like so daunting to do it and to go. It's not like that at all. You could actually not know what you're doing. You're still going to have a really good time. Everything is done so well. It's just so pretty. It's a must see. BC is gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Canada looks beautiful. I do want to come. When I come over, I'm going to visit you both, but we'll have to meet somewhere in the middle.
Saskatchewan.
That would be, yeah.
Yay.
I've never been.
Oh, I have. I have family in Saskatchewan.
Okay.
Hello, everyone in the side chat. Thank you for joining us today. Really, really nice to see new faces in as well, and all the old faces. Obviously, we've got a lot to talk about. Mm-hmm. I couldn't believe that yesterday when I saw that video. I mean, we're going to go into it in a minute. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to read the article first,
right?
Before we look at the video. So Prince Harry makes a surprise appearance in New York, and pleads compassion as the world gets harder. Yes. The royal is 40 years of age, attended the 2025 Global Summit on Friday, where he and Rachel, the co-founder and CEO of the company, spoke to next-gen philanthropists and investors. In a chat called Building Tomorrow, a conversation on service, impact and collective action with Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, detailed founding the Archroyal Foundation of Sussex, Duchess of Sussex. Yes. Prince Harry told the audience that as the world gets harder, as people's lives become harder, compassion can shrink. Well, he's kind of a bit right about that, I suppose. The thing that gives me the most hope is the grassroots approach, he expressed. Many of you here today are connected and involved with so many community solutions because it's what energized all of you. And that service part is really what energizes me as well. And he goes on to say that he wants to, the Spare author previously said that when he and Meghan Markle stepped away from their royal duties, and moved, they started the non-profit to meet the moment by showing up, taking action, and using our unparalleled spotlight to uplift and unite communities. Whatever you put out there, you get back, he said. So he gave quite a long speech, but it was a surprise visit. No one was expecting him there. There was no kind of prior arrangement to that. Obviously, he was missing in London, which we know. And yeah, it was kind of almost arranged last minute. And it says here, Harry is a sensitive soul and always wore his heart on his sleeve. So whether he'd admit it publicly or not, he's full of regrets and wishes he's done things differently. And yeah, it just carries on about talking about the royal family and the rift between the royal family. Okay, so what do you guys think about his surprise visit before we talk about his actual slurring and the strange speech, the way he composed himself? Why do you think that he just turned up at this event?
I think it was, I think because of the rumors of the OD, and I think that the missing, I think somebody said, get your ass out there in public and shut it down. Yeah. And I think that was a way of doing it. So some kind of forum, perhaps they set it up. I don't know how long this thing was prearranged for itself. Maybe it's one of the people that he knows, but they got him onto it. And I think that was basically to quench, I think, these rumors and to say, go out there, damage control, you're not missing in action, this was planned, you look good, shape up and go out there. I think it was a lot to do with that, because it was that whole missing component of what happened to him last week, and I think he just needed to get ahead of that narrative. Allegedly.
This is the thing. I mean, there was no explanation as to why he wasn't there. Normally they would put out a statement of summary for anything that he doesn't turn up to. He's the founder, so of course he should be there. I mean, it's like it's like the head teacher not turning up to school. You have to be there. It's your baby.
And if you're not there, you have a pre-recorded message, right? Because he's done that too, where he hasn't been physically there, but he's participating somehow. Yeah. So I think that that's also another way of doing it. But the fact that both were missing, that to me says he should have been there, because he didn't even have a proxy or representative there. And then this rumor happened, and I think that this is why the second part happened in New York.
Yeah.
It is odd, though, right? The guy shows up for an opening of an envelope. Like, why isn't he here? You fly across to China, which is not down the street, and you're not there. I think, too, like, there has been a lot of chitter chatter and whatever, and, on a lot of different platforms. And yeah, I agree. Like, get your butt in a shower, go bang your head against the wall a couple thousand times, and go look like a decent human being and smile, right? Like, shut her down. I fully agree.
Look who's here. Beautiful Paula. You okay? I think
yeah, I'm just here for a few minutes because I have to do
that's
my
nice. Thank you very much. That's fine. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I told you so, because now apparently the mainstream media is going, it seems like,
Well, and Dan Wooten and what was that lady who's always on with him? Yes, and they were basically admitting it and saying, yes, he was admitted and he's come out, and this is something to look at, and so they're basically confirming. And I had made a little earlier, they owe Pidina and Paul an apology.
They do, and you know what it is as well. There's something that you have to have a little bit of ethics and morals when you do this. You can't just make up some random nonsense. You've got people that will tell you what's going on. You've got connections. People.
But you know what I think it is? Yeah, I think it is. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be quickly about this.
Yeah, sorry.
I think it is that they are condescending towards us. We YouTubers have to work 3 or 4 times, or this is the thing that I was talking about earlier. That only they have sources, and
only they're legitimate. Yeah.
Only they can be the oracles of the truth. I finished doing an interview with a Spanish, best-selling Spanish author about Felipe. Oh my goodness, he has to come tomorrow because so much gossip. And then, but no, it's not gossip; it's factual. I mean, this is a proper. He's been a New York reporter for over 30 years on the monarchy, and basically, he said to me, and basically he was like, "Sorry, guys."
Oh, hot tip coming in.
Right? Is that Harry? It's the bat phone.
No, it's just wait 1 second, guys. Wait 1 second. Don't hang up. Laura, ya voy.
I can see the dog in the
Es a las
background.
11:30, ¿no?
Oh gosh.
That dog's always on the bed. He loves the bed, doesn't he?
So
She loves the bed.
No, okay. I can't, guys. The reason why I do my lives and whatever on in the bedroom is because did you see that? She perked up.
Yeah.
It's because if I do it where I have a desk and stuff like that, she won't let me alone. And she cries, and she won't be on the floor, and I can't put her on the desk. And then when she's on the desk, she's walking across the thing, so I'm like this. I've tried it, and I don't care what people say. I am not going to discipline her because, she's her own person. She's 3 years old, which means she's like, what are you, City 30? So she owns everything of mine.
She's
in
charge.
She can do whatever the hell she wants. I sleep in her bed, and she allows me to sleep in her bed. I am privileged to sleep in her bed.
You're hilarious, Paula. Honestly, that's hilarious.
That's the way I see it.
Does she pay the mortgage?
Well, no.
No. Well, there you go then.
I have to work for her.
She's
I work
lovely.
for her. I
work for her.
You
She's in charge.
And on top of that, Otis is cheating on her. And we're gonna talk about it in the live today with Pidina, because how dare he? But anyways, that's a different thing. But what I was gonna say is like,
yeah, we were talking about Harry.
Yeah,
and
when
Paula
we were
was
talking,
right.
Yes, no, I'm not. I don't know if I'm always right, but at least guys, people don't understand, and they were trying to shame me that I exposed medical information. Because Dan said, oh, we don't talk about medical information. This is not about medical information because Harry, there's a lawsuit from the Heritage Foundation. Harry opened that big door when he wrote that book, Spare, and said that he does drugs, not only in the past, but he was still doing them. He's going around promoting the use of ayahuasca with Dr. Gabor Mate. I mean, ayahuasca. This is
ayahuasca is quite a spiritual thing. It's meant to awaken your third eye. Apparently, I mean,
It doesn't really matter. He's not allowed to be promoting drugs in the U.S. because he's not a citizen of the United States of America. And even though, and I know it's very confusing for people, but this is what I've said before, because certain drugs are legal in the state of California for U.S. citizens. For legal immigrants holding green cards or whatever, it is not, because you're bound by federal law, which means that if the drugs are not legal across the board in the United States, you cannot have them. It's like you can consume alcohol because alcohol is across the United States, it's legal. But for example, if alcohol was illegal in one state of the United States, Harry wouldn't be able to consume alcohol, So when he did that book, he opened himself. So I don't care. The Heritage Foundation is not suing to see his private medical information. What we want to know is like, how was this man allowed in the country? And when my source told me what had happened, because Pidina, to be honest, Pidina told me that she heard something that Harry may not be well, but she didn't know about the OD, right? So and then I said, do you know anything about that, Paula? Because two of my sources told me, but I guess they didn't want to tell her what it was, right? So, but that he's not really doing well. There's something seriously wrong, and then like he might be in the hospital. So I said, okay, let me find out more. And then when I contacted my source, she said, because his bodyguard, people, if you think about it, his bodyguard is the same bodyguard, and he knows how to manage. Did you know that he has like a little first aid kit that they inject them in case, I don't know if it's adrenaline.
Oh, a Narcan kit, yeah. Yeah, that
That,
makes perfect sense.
they're so used to him ODing. People think
Are you joking? No, sorry. Back up a second. They've got a kit to revive him.
not
You
to
can get them
revive
for
him,
free
but
here in
to help
Vancouver.
him. To help him. It's not like you.
What, like an IV or something like that?
No, it's like a
know-
pen, like an EpiPen.
Oh, an
like an
EpiPen.
EpiPen,
Okay.
yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Like for example, my son's university, they have
Is that-
that.
so
like I
Michael
didn't know what
Jackson-
the hell that was. It's like, and Hendrik didn't know because Hendrik doesn't do drugs, right? So whenever they go to the classroom, apparently there was one of his buddies, or not buddies, but one of the people in the classroom. Something started happening. Just because you overdose, it doesn't mean that you die. It only means that you need medical
you
attention.
need medical attention. Yes.
And his bodyguard, because it's not the first time that's happened. This is the thing that people don't understand. Do you think that a man with such an extensive drug use, Harry, is not? This will be the first time. I mean, and this is why this bodyguard is there with him. This is why the bodyguard got the Medal of Honor from the Queen in 2022, and he left everything and went to work with Harry. And when we found out about it, guys, I always, and you know what's so funny? That I see people commenting, oh, it's another Paula lie. Come into my channel and tell me, point out one lie you can find in my channel. One. If you can find one lie I've said in my channel, because I'm very careful what I put. Please go to any video of mine. I will say this is alleged, and this, I heard this. And then there are things that I will say, I know for a fact. And people don't believe me. And Lord and behold, we have that. Like I was called, you know what? When I reported on the Meghan Markle Instagram account, you know what they called me? They said that I created the account. That I made it up, that the account was not hers because it was not verified. That was their whole thing. And the defense for this has been that it's not in the mainstream media. The mainstream media is never going to cover this. Never. Because, and as I said before, if Harry OD'd, given the fact that he has already a pending thing with the Heritage Foundation, that means he's doing drugs.
Well, that's a good representative, isn't it? Right?
No, yeah, and not only that, he's doing drugs.
Have we, Paula, have we got any more news on what drug it was?
No, I don't have any. No, I don't. I know, but I do know. And then I heard Neil Sean that there were no ambulances. I'm so surprised that Neil Sean, and I'm not shading him, for him saying, okay, did you guys know that the Queen Mother had cancer? Did you know that?
Well, that was towards the end, wasn't it?
No. In her late 50s, she had cancer. Nobody knew about it. They found out about after her death. Nobody said anything. Did you know that they declared two of her cousins dead since 1960s? And then in 2011, it became a scandal.
No, I know that was that not the ones that went into the home that so for the mental institution yeah, we know about that but I wasn't aware of I wasn't aware of the cancer. I would have. How do you know that's the
because
case?
It was made public. It was made public.
It was made public. Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
she was the type of woman that didn't really want.
No, the royal family. Listen. I was so shocked when Neil Sean said that, because he should know better. He knows that you're not going to get ambulances coming to. No. The bodyguard is there for. He knows the protocol. This guy has been around Harry for so long. They put the little pen, and then he goes in, and then they're out. They, because they know. Wait, I have to get going, but I just wanted to say hi.
Thanks for coming on, and I'll see you in a bit later at 7ish. Yeah, I'll see you in a bit. So what we're going to, hi girls, thank you for that. That was interesting take on what's going on. And to be fair, I mean, Paula and P. Dina, I don't think they would have put out such a shocking video. It's really, without having the backup and the sources that they have, it's not something you can really put out there unless there's some truth to it. And I mean, go on, sorry, Heather, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I just want to make it perfectly clear, all of us here are very empathetic to people with mental health issues, addiction. No one wants to see the guy croak at all. But it's getting more like, it's like watching the Titanic sink at this point. Like we all know what's coming. And it's very disheartening. And Like, I get wanting to cover it up. I get it. I get the royals, right? Like, we don't need this coming out. They're not going to rat out on Harry because he knows stuff too. So everyone's going down. So it's just easier just to keep everything under wraps. Sorry.
Yeah. No, yeah, 100%. I mean, nobody wants to see somebody's mental health like that. And I know I've everybody knows I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for Harry, and people don't like me for that. That's fine. But it's because I grew up with him. He's only 4 years older than me.
Right.
And so I grew up with him, and when he's, I live in London. I'm like, they're part of our, fabric. They're woven into my DNA. So I can't not have sympathy and empathy for him. And I saw his mum die. I was 9 years old, I think, when I come downstairs and I switched the telly on, and Princess Diana had died, and I was like, Mum, he's dead. She's dead. And she didn't believe it. And we laid flowers at the palace with my nan. It was really affected our whole being here. It really hit us. So I find it really hard to completely despise Harry, and I certainly don't want him to be in this situation. I do feel compassion for him. I can't help it. But we're gonna probably look at the video now and just have a little look at this this speech, and you guys can tell me what you think.
Okay.
Where is it? It's up here. Okay.
Are doing and all the progress that we're achieving, that if the digital world is not done responsibly, that it's going to turn back that progress. And we see it now, especially with climate change. So that became a focus. And then we started to meet a lot of parents who'd lost their kids to social media, majority through suicide. And that's when it started to really make sense for us. And going back to your initial question, one of the pieces to why the digital world was so important to us is because my wife in 2018 was the most trolled person in the world. So there was a lived experience in that, but at no point did we suddenly think, okay, well, let's go and let's take.
Okay.
Oh, why does that stop playing?
That
Does it stop completely?
For all the work that we collectively.
So that's just a little clip there. I mean, guys, if we go through this and pause it as we go along, I mean, listen to his speech. I've never heard him sound like that. I've never heard him sound like that before. Have you?
No.
No.
It sounds like garbled.
Yeah.
and it's not. I'm just playing devil's advocate because I think that's fair. It's not like a mic, like a technical issue, right? Like he does sound.
He sounds
doing
medicated.
and all the progress that we're achieving, that if the digital world is not done responsibly, that it's going to turn back that progress. And we see it now, especially with climate change.
So his voice sounds quite raspy and like gritty, you know. And do you feel like he's heavy breathing?
I think he's trying to find words. Like,
yeah,
he can't form a sentence
Sounds like
very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And someone's put in the comments, maybe there was damage from the overdose, the alleged overdose. I mean, there would be, you're going to be recovering still. So there will be kind of he looks quite slouched. I personally think he looks a bit thinner. I don't know if that's maybe just me or the shot of the camera and the angle of the camera. But do you think he might look a little bit,
Disheveled?
Yeah. I think he's medicated. I mean, if we carry on listening to this.
So that became a focus. And then we started to meet a lot of parents who'd lost their kids to social media, majority through suicide. And that's when it started to really make sense for us. And going back to your initial question, one of the pieces to why the digital world was so important to us is because my wife in
that's slurring,
like he's really struggling to get those words out.
It's just, I mean, I don't know who he's got around him, but whoever allowed him to come on stage, I mean, I've never heard. He's so controlled because he's done this all his life. So when this is easy for him, and he really sounds like he's struggling, and this is not something I've ever seen from Harry before. It's definitely it's bizarre that his team thought he was ready to do this, because I don't think he was at all.
2018 was the most trolled person in the world. So there was a lived experience in that, but at no point did we suddenly think, okay, well, let's go and let's take.
I mean, guys, have you got any more of a take on that? Let me just.
Very heavy. He just sounds very heavy. It just sounds like he's struggling. It sounds very heavy. It's very interesting too that it must be awful for him to be sitting there talking about this, because on one hand, they're trying to do all of this great stuff because, there's the bullying aspect of the digital media, and people and children have suffered. And yet every day his wife, the most trolled person in the world, is monetizing their life on the exact same platform that they're advocating to censor. So it's like, we want to use it this way, but everybody else needs to get off the road, right?
What's good for me is not good for thee, or what's good for thee is not good for me, right? It's very hypocritical.
Yeah,
totally self-serving, and it's like, and also I think that he's very much a victim in a lot of ways, and it's very, I think part of what you were talking about earlier, Victoria, saying that you have a soft spot for him. I think that we all kind of have a soft spot or a confusion around him, because he comes from such a very popular family, very popular, powerful family. They can have anything, and yet he is so broken, and he's continuing to shatter in front of our eyes, and we're all like, what's going on? Why is this being allowed to happen? This is not right, because any parent worth their salt would have scooped up their children regardless of the age, and would have said, let me put my arms around you. Let me save you. Let's do something. And it seems like the world's allowing him to flounder because of this one woman. Does she have this much power? Like, is this the pieces that we're putting together? And then he's a spectacle out there for everybody. I just find it so hard to put this picture together to make it make sense.
Well, we know for the first thing an abuser does is they will isolate you from your family. And that is clear as day. I mean, if it was the other way around and it was a man isolating the woman, there would be all uproar. But because it's a woman doing it, it seems to have gone a bit under the radar. But he doesn't have contact with any of his family. And it's mainly, the main reason, I would say, is her influence. Because I can't see that happening. A woman would normally want their partner to still have to have this extended family, because you've got children, and you infuse yourself together. You would want to build your husband up, and you wouldn't want to have him having a rift with his brother, his dad. She would try to correct that, and she hasn't. I think she's made it worse.
I think, listen, I get it. I get that people cut people out of their family, and maybe there's a great reason for it. I don't see the reason in this situation, but you don't talk to anybody. No one on either side. You don't have any cousins.
We see it.
That makes no sense to me at all. You have a big family, not just like Prince William and Catherine. You have cousins on both sides. You don't talk to anyone. That's a lot of people not to talk to.
And the issue that you've got there, then who does he lean on? If he's only got one person's opinion and one person's output and input in his life is just Meghan, that's a toxic situation to be in, because he's only listening to her, and that her opinion isn't enough. You need to have a balance. If I have an idea, girls, am I going to share it and get everybody's opinion? Because if I'm not sure about something, I need to weigh up that decision sometimes with other people's input. But if you've just got one person in your ear and she's not particularly great at making decisions, and she hasn't got his best interests at heart, then he's going to spiral. you
Well,
know?
you're just surrounded by yes men. Yes men.
Exactly.
Yes,
That's
that happened with Michael Jackson. Look what happened there. Look what happened with a lot of other celebrities, right? Yes men. You don't live on Earth at all. I don't know where you live, but it must be a good planet, right? That's not life. And
No.
this is what happens. Sorry, Manuel, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I was agreeing with you. I was agreeing that, it's very interesting. I've been around certain situations, and I reflect, because a lot, like you see these things happening, and then you see where does it happen in your circles, or what does it look like in your circles. And I've been privileged or party to seeing certain families behave in a certain way where they're so very polite and formal with each other. And there's no authenticity. Like, no one really just says, this is going on or that's going on. Everybody's so walking on eggshells or being diplomatic and whatnot.
Yeah.
Not to hurt, everybody is working to manage everybody's feelings. And it's like, every once in a while, though, somebody's got to take a step forward. And if there's got to be somebody to say, this is wrong. Like, if I were to see a child or an animal being abused, I'm sorry, I'm going to step out. I'm going to say something, because I just can't tolerate it, right? It's like, you don't pick on people that are weak. And in this situation, there's got to be a PR person, the delivery boy, somebody. Go talk to somebody and say, they need help. This person needs help. Just watching, it just doesn't make sense. And I know that they say, well, maybe that person doesn't have influence, but I'm sure that if they wanted to reach somebody who can, they can. And I just think that this is too disconnected. This is, for some, they want private. In this situation, they have, like, they have nobody reaching them, yet they have all this other leaky, conspiracy theories and people making fun of them. But when they really need something, nobody's around. It just seems very bizarre.
Maybe that's why 24 people got the boot, right? Maybe that's why there's some people in therapy. Like,
yeah,
like, you open your mouth, you got no job. See ya.
But the family members don't need the job. They're going to be there regardless. Not one of them has guts. Not one of them's going to say something.
Maybe they have, and that's why they live in California.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
This is the thing. Their egos surpass, the reality of their lives, and they genuinely think whatever they're doing, they shouldn't be challenged on. And this, I kind of I see this with a lot of celebrities. They don't like to be challenged about their own behavior because they believe they're above that.
Yeah,
and they can do as they want. Yeah. So I mean, how do you feel about this? What do you think is going to come from this?
I don't think it's going to be good. I think we can all see the train wreck, right? Like, I don't wish ill on anybody. I don't. But, like, a blind man in Phoenix can see this coming, right? Something's got to give. Are they going to go back to England? No, that's never going to happen. She's never going to admit she's wrong. He's never going to admit that he's wrong, right? And when you're in that state, and let's just go with the narrative that there is something going on here, and depression, and you get depressed and more depressed. Now you're further down the hole. It's like quicksand. You can't get yourself out. You got your wife going on interviews going, I'm the happiest I've ever been. Your husband looks like he got hit by a Mack truck.
I know.
Right?
I know.
Can't put a sentence together. Not all well in Montecito,
She's so good at putting a mask on, though. I mean, I know we can see through it, but she keeps up this pretense continuously, and she's almost like robotic. There's no real humane side to her, whereas you can see he's breaking. He's almost deteriorating in front of us. And doing this. I mean, I'm not even going to dissect the language that he was using, because I'm more concerned about his speech and him slurring. That to me is just red alarm bells going off, and yet nothing seems to be kind of in the media about it. Like, there's nothing written saying he sounds the way he does when it's obvious.
Yeah, but I think too, I mean, I'm not a journalist, and I'm not in the media, but I've heard before that a lot of times they have moratoriums on certain pieces of information, and there's, there's things there, there's parameters basically that if you want to maintain your position as a journalist or continue your career, you will abide by certain rules. And every once in a while, there's certain mandates that come out or certain narratives. And if you don't play by those narratives, it does affect you overall. So this could be one of them. This could be something out there that this is taboo. You do not talk about this until we tell you you can.
Yeah, that's true.
They're never going to talk about it. If it is true, I don't know. I'm not there. If this is all true, a select people will know, right? And talk about it, but it will never, like, you will never see this on TMZ ever.
No.
Unless something really bad, like he doesn't come back from it. But other than that.
Do you think that this might be time now for the royal family to have an intervention?
Well, I don't see why they would want to. If it's true, and if you have your child, and this is happening, of course you want to be able to. Anytime is the right time when throw in. You see somebody treading water, and so like right now, watching that speech, sounds like he's struggling. He's treading water, and with treading water, you either sink or you swim. Why wait till he sinks? Try to get in there. You've got the means and the power and the influence, and you would, I can't believe he just wants to flounder like that.
It's really hard though, once you're in the midst of addiction, to pull yourself out of it, because you become heavily reliant on it, and it's to take yourself and wean yourself off whatever drug it is. It takes a lot of willpower, and you have to want to do it.
Want it, and there's the thing. He is her beaker number one and beaker number two. Me. They're ultimate victim, king and queen of the victims. And if they hand it over and say me, then their whole narrative went down the toilet, right? Then it is them, not the royal family. So you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. You got to double down. And I think that's what's happening. Right. And the guy's 40 years old, man.
And you are right. The mindset needs to change, because if you're living in a victim mentality all your life, and that's what you want to keep, basically self-sabotaging yourself and feeling, it's almost like you can't let go of what's happened. Things happen to everybody, and we can't hold on to it forever, because it stops us progressing in the future and in the present. You have to somehow heal and move forward. Yes, this happens, but make the best of this situation. And I feel like he's living in the past constantly, and he can't seem to.
He's stopped. He's 12 years old, or however he was when his mom passed. That's it. It's done.
And then, because you're living like that in this depressive state, then you choose to use substances because you want to feel better. But you're not working on what the real problem is. There's always a reason why you're using.
Because it's always someone else's fault. It's always someone else's fault. And that's what happens. They're spoiled brats, really. They never want to take any, what's that? Like, it's my fault. They do not want to take any onus in anything. No. It's always someone else. And that's the way they are. And it's not going to change.
You know what I find? I find it's a shame that he has no purpose, because I think a lot of people that end up very depressed and on, with substance issues or whatever, they wallow in things, and it's very difficult. And I've seen it. I've seen it very closely in my family too. So I'm not, and once they have a purpose, like it's like, yes, you have to want to change, but you have to also have a passion or something that pulls you out, changes your focus, changes your reason to get up every day. And it's not about sitting there saying, oh, poor me, and look at what happened to me, but now I want to build this. Or now I have, again, one situation, a family member of mine, they were basically said, you're going to miss out on the life of your grandchildren if you don't, wake up. And they were like, oh my gosh, I don't want to miss that. And that was that time where it was like, oh, I can do this now because I have a reason to put it outside of myself, something larger than me, to focus on that. Harry must not have that. He doesn't have it. His children aren't that enough for him. His situation's not enough. Maybe this shad, I don't know. It just seems like Invictus could have been something. Like maybe Symbolic could have been something if he had his autonomy, that he could build it and grow it and have an identity there. And maybe all of these things coming apart, he's got nothing left.
I will say, when he was here in Vancouver for Invictus, he looked really happy. He was on that mountain going down in the inner tube, having a good time, blah. He did look happy. He did. And that was only, when was that? February?
Yeah.
That's only a couple months ago. And it's just kind of like gone down, went down the hill.
Because he knew what to do those days. He had something to do those days. He had something that was outside of him. He had something that he was interacting with other people. He's watching, he was adding value.
But what happened was the As Ever launched, and now it's been the Megan show, right?
Yeah. Well, that's nothing to do with him, right?
Right. And maybe I'm just making conversation. When you're number one guy in the group and you're competing with your own wife, right? That's how I see it. And she's got to edge up and up and up. And you're, spare again to your wife, maybe he sees that. I don't, it's just, I don't know. It's just very odd. And yes, I do agree with people in the chat. There's people who gotten dealt worse cards than this guy, right?
Yeah.
And you move on with your life. And
but some people don't know how to deal with trauma in the same way. I mean, some people will have the most traumatic lives and be really successful, and their drive is to achieve and better their life. And some people don't have that. They don't have that. They sit in the trauma, and they don't have the confidence to go out there and make something of themselves. And then they fall into this cycle. We can all experience the same thing, and we can all come out of it and have a different reaction to it and deal with it differently. I think I manage my life by blocking things out. It's easier, and make humor out of things. I like to make a joke out of dark situations because that's how I get through.
That's how you cope.
That. Yeah. But some people just will go in all different directions, and it's who you are as a character, and it's what you want out of your life. What do you want out of your life? Do you want happiness and fulfillment, or do you want to sit and wallow and suffer? And you have to wake up. We all go through these days of feeling sorry for ourselves, but we shouldn't be going through long periods of time feeling sorry for ourselves continuously. We need to snap out of it. And it's harder to take the right route than it is to take the wrong one,
it is.
And it's hard also to remove the toxic people out of your life, especially if you love them, or you're looking out for them, or you're looking to them, or you don't see that they're actually poison to you. You're blinded by them.
But not to peg everything on Duchess DeLulu, but when you're launching a wine on your mom's birthday and your mom tragically passed by a drunk driver, it looks not nice. Like, just
it is important.
Like, I don't know what his buttons are. I call them buttons, right? Everyone gets triggered by something. I hate that word, but push a button, right? That to me looks like a big red one. I'm just saying.
100%. I'm just looking at my cat. He's just going mental. When they have their funny half an hour, he's like... No, you're completely right, and it is in poor taste. It is in poor taste that she's releasing it on her birthday, and it was, surrounded by alcohol and what have you. I don't know. Do you think he's maybe bothered by that? Do you think he's even really made that connection?
They did a big article about it in People magazine, and what a great tribute this is to Princess Diana, who would have been 65, right? People magazine's their yapping mouthpiece, right? So apparently that man loves her, and everything's hunky-dory. Don't look at the man behind the curtain.
She's a master manipulator. This, you know, but he's easy to manipulate because also he's in a low vibration right now, and that low vibration means you are easy to entwine and mold to what you want them to be, and that's how it works. That's how abuse works. I mean, I'm not saying she's a full-blown abuser, but I certainly think she pulls the strings and makes decisions for him that he can't really process in that time. Everything's happening really, really quickly. He's not got time to think about it or to look at it analyze the situation. If he's using drugs, how is he able to process what's really going on?
I don't think you process very much when you're not right there.
No.
You know, it's like, well, all sounds good or all sounds confusing, or you're gaslit. You agreed to it. You said it was okay. Did I? Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know what the conversation's going to be like.
I'm just wondering why he showed up to that event. Like, yeah, maybe like when we were saying, yeah, you got to get your ass out there and seen. You could have went to the farmer's market and had the paparazzi, you know, take a picture of you. If you can't handle going in front of people and being videotaped and make a speech, just do a pap walk, go down to Rodeo Drive, do some shopping. You could have gotten away with it a different kind of way to be seen.
Or he got paid to do it because it's part of his speaking tournament tour, and maybe there's a contractual obligation. Maybe there was something that's going on, and maybe she doesn't want him in a farmer's market because that's her space.
Oh, yeah, good point.
No, you could be right. I mean, maybe it's because they were very disappointed in him not turning up in London, and he has to do some damage control. And I suppose not explaining why he wasn't there. I mean, was William there as well? No, William
wasn't.
William in the one in London.
Oh, well, that was the thing for the king, right?
Well, he didn't attend that either, did he?
Everyone was there, except for
yeah. Do you think it might have been something to do with the fact that his family were in London rather than it being to do with us being hospitalized? Because, you know,
then do a video. You don't have to go there. Do a video. Do your part. It's your foundation, or it's your initiative. Go there, make a presence, set a direction, thank everybody. You know, Bob's your uncle. You do that. It's nice and easy. Do 3-minute video. You can do that anywhere, right? Sending a video over. That's easy. This is easy for them. And they're talking about digital spaces. But I think it's more about that they physically had to get them out there. And maybe it's part of how they're going to get them to do more things and maybe help direct them. Maybe this is part of the healing. Maybe this is part of the direction. Maybe this is part of pulling him out. Who knows? I mean, this just seems, but he does not look like he's in very good shape. He does look like it's very heavy. It's not lighthearted. It's very slurred. It's a lot of effort on his part. And you're right. It's a little bit of a sweaty kind of,
detox. That's what you look like when you're detoxing.
See?
Just saying. Allegedly. Well, I don't know what I'm supposed
to say. Or it's very hot. The air conditioning.
Yeah, right? That's a lot of lighting on you.
I've just never you can always tell when somebody's, even if it's like the slightest change in voice,
right?
You know, right? You can't hide it. And also, I mean, I think this is the aftermath of having tubes and, you know, he's recovering and he's not quite there. Like he's still a bit
groggy out of it.
Yeah, groggy. Yeah, like kind of like when you're hungover, and you can't really function very well.
Right.
It's similar sort of situation, right? So he just wasn't ready. But I mean, it does help us confirm what's going on, because you know, we would be gaslit again by the media and not told the truth. And I think now these 3 things that have come about, it's really kind of, you can't, how else can you explain this? Why would he be like that? Why he's never spoken like that before, ever.
No.
I've never heard him like that before.
And he's usually in a good mood kind of guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's usually light and fun and doesn't take things too seriously. Here he's been, he's really has these things that he must say, and it's word salady. He's kind of struggling, he's trying to remember the narrative, trying to pull it out that way. Just seems very heavy.
It's very heavy. Yeah. I mean, do you know what? I really worry about this situation because I know he's a grown man and everything, but he's still Prince Harry, isn't he, at the end of the day? And he doesn't deserve to be, whatever he's done, there are a lot worse people out there. He's not the devil. But he just needs to get better.
He needs to rein it in, and he needs to surround us.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, go.
Not yes men. And just whether or not the situation is true or not, just on a whole, like they need to be reined in, because I think they're both like watched Game of Thrones too much. I call them Joffrey and Cersei for a reason. Like they just like power hungry, right? Like power, fear me, blah. And I do have empathy because we've all have lives and we all been around certain people in our lives.
Yeah.
I get his family. Man, enough's enough. You want to go on BBC and take us down and blah, blah, blah. One can only take so much. They got Prince William and Princess Catherine. They got little kids to raise. They got bigger fish to fry than Harry. Harry's old enough to get his stuff together at the end of the day. Right? So.
Totally. Just thinking. Sorry. Just
no,
thinking.
Go.
One of the questions we've been trying to figure out is, okay, so he's in really rough shape. Why did he show up? Why did he go and do this thing, right? Because it's like you're obviously not that ready. But could it be also to take the heat off of Madam Markup there, who has been getting a lot of heat for her business and her jam and the tea, and now people know where the sources are and they know what's going on, and the podcast that she had. So she's been getting a lot of attention, and maybe this is a way of taking the heat off and putting it on him.
I think you're onto it, that it's contractual, the contract, and they're broke and they need money. I've been saying this forever. They're broke. And rehab's expensive.
Yeah. And if everyone's saying, well, why am I giving him a pass? I'm not saying I love him. I'm not saying that. But the problem for me is I feel he is in a situation that he can't really get out of. I don't think he realized what he got himself into. I think he was manipulated by her in that relationship, and she love bombed him, and he wasn't clever enough to see what she really was, because we know she's a compulsive liar. He has started to register that now, but what can he do? He's made children with the woman. He's completely cut off all ties with his family. It's very hard to leave that situation knowing full well she'll write a book on him. She'll completely
it's already written. She's writing emails to her kids. She's writing stuff.
Well, there you go.
Oh no.
And I with addiction, I have a lot of history with that with my family. So it triggers me. It does trigger me. And I always understand why that is happening. And maybe I shouldn't. And maybe I should just, think, whatever. But I can't help myself. I'm just that way inclined. But it doesn't mean I love him. I'm not in love with Harry. Don't worry. But yeah. Okay, so any more comments on that video before we wrap it up, guys? Because I think we've got to do a live in a minute.
Okay,
another one.
Live to live,
back to back lives.
Back to back. No, I think that from my part, that's pretty much it. I think that it's rough, but I think there's a reason. I mean, it being paid, but I think it really shows that the rumor was more than a rumor. There was something there. Yeah. And this is to get ahead of it somehow. And that we have good sources. And there's a lot of learning here. And it also shows that it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, how much power you have. life happens to you and you feel things and you end up going spiraling, and you still need people. No one's an island.
No,
I think if you got 2 eyes and 2 ears, you can make the decision yourself off that video on what you think. I have my opinion. We all have our opinion.
Yeah, actually, I was wanting to ask the side chat. Do you think that the video is off key? I mean, do you agree with it? Because I didn't actually ask
because
you.
I try to look at both sides of the coin. I thought maybe it's an audio issue, right? But the more we were listening to it, and I was like, oh, that's not an audio issue. But hey, everyone's
Did he have his
opinion.
mouth up? Was he doing that? With your mouth right on the microphone?
But he's struggling, right? You know, like when you're a heavy smoker, and you're kind of like
You can't get your breath.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I guess so far 2025. I think Megsy hexed herself like The Craft when she wrote 2025 in the sand. She was supposed to thrive, and it's all gone like the opposite. So, and we're only in June. Oh, it's almost July. So it's been very entertaining for the last 6 months, and I don't see it stopping.
Well, no, July 1st, we know what's going to happen.
Right?
Yeah.
Apparently, we also know the source of the wine. The winery now is coming out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, on her Instagram, it said Napa Valley Wine. I just didn't know what winery it was. So now that's come out.
Yeah.
We'll talk about
we'll
that,
talk about it. Yep.
Yeah, but like she put it out there. It didn't take much to find it.
No.
Well, when you're drop shipping, and private labeling, I mean, we do that too, and we have to put, there's certain things you put on a label, whatever, to show the source or whatnot, or where it's made. I mean, it's not unusual to have things private labeled. It's not unusual to have things drop shipped. I don't think anybody's begrudging that. I think it's just the pretense around it.
Right. Yeah, she's making it. And we were talking about that the other day. I'm like, do you think like Harry and Megsy are Lucy and Ethel stomping on grapes? No. Like, no. Do you know how much wineries cost? No, they're not doing it. And that's the narrative, right? I work so hard.
And I know what hard work looks like. What does that even mean? I know what it looks like. Do you know what it feels like? Do you know how to do it?
I know what it looks like because I watch everybody do my job for me.
That's why I love her words, because if you really listen to her words literally, you're like, what are you just saying? You know what it looks like?
She's just, you know what she uses? She uses HR language. It's very like politically correct.
But she doesn't even know the meanings of the words that she's using.
It's just word salad, and it's just caked up crap, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I think my prediction now is H&M have to go out in public together. There has to be some sort of outing, a family outing, or that Instagram is going to go crazy with photos. Everything's happy, joy. Look at Harry, he loves me so much. What a good dad he is. There's something coming. There has to be. There's too much of us talking about it.
Yeah, they've got to do damage control, haven't they? I mean, the thing is, if he doesn't get better, this is going to sort of happen. It's going to be a car crash. You can't hide this stuff forever. When you're using it, people know. You just know. And people are looking for it as well, and she's probably having a bit of a meltdown at the moment because it's damaging their brand. That's
Those
probably what she's more
flying in
concerned
Montecito.
about.
Hope he knows how to duck.
Yeah.
I would say to people that are, and it's very sad, but if you've got somebody in your family or whatever, check in on them. Tell them you love them.
Yeah.
Check in.
Yeah.
Don't hold grudges. I mean, this is sad to see if this is true and what's happening with other people, but we all have others, and maybe we're forgetting that, we got somebody in our own backyard that needs a hand or a hug, or just to be told that they're seen and loved. So let's not forget that also.
Well, that's a nice ending to the live. Thank you, Manuela. That's actually really lovely. And yeah, we're just going to have to see how this unfolds. I really would like them to divorce now.
Then the book will come out.
Right, okay, guys, I'm going to go on a live now with P. Dina and Paula, and then me and Heather are back again at 9 o'clock. So we're going to be talking about tea and wine and
What are you doing
ever.
at 9, Manuela? You want to come back?
You want to join us at 9 o'clock?
I'll come back if you send me sure. Today's an off day.
Yeah,
so,
because you're great. It's all about the production. So we got an expert.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
I do
Oh,
private
there you
labor.
go.
That'd be fun.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it. I will join you. Thank you so much for including me.
That's brilliant. Thank you, girls. You've been great. And thank you everyone in the side chat as well. I really appreciate you coming and interacting. And please like, subscribe to Heather, subscribe to Manuela. I'll put the links in the description box. I'm running late today. But yeah, just join us again at 9 and join us on Paula's channel as well. I think that's it. Anything else? Everything's allegedly, by the way, guys.
Allegedly. And thank you very much for having me.
I should get it tattooed across my forehead.
Right. Sure,
Just
allegedly.
Yeah, it's an idea.
That's our new brand. Our brand will be called Allegedly.
I think so. Let's just change the whole name
right.
and put allegedly instead. It might be a lot easier. All right, guys. I will see you soon.
Right.
Take care. Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.